All right, so this is a law of sines assignment where we're going to use law of sines to solve triangles that are not right triangles. Again, SOHCAHTOA, sine, cosine, tangent, only work with right triangles, but law of sines is developed from right triangles and works on any triangle, acute or obtuse. All right, so law of sines is said here, sine A over A equals sine B over B equals sine C over C. So let's start with number one. And I'll define the parts that are here. They have A, measurement of angle A is 114 degrees. They have measurement of angle B equals 34 degrees. And very quickly, because we know two angles and the sum of angles are 180, we can quickly calculate measurement C. That's 32 degrees. So we just found one of the three unknowns. That leaves, we know little a is 31, we don't know little b, and we don't know little c. And again, the legs are across from the angle. Angle B leg is across from the angle. Letter C is across. Letter A is across. So I'm now going to fill in what I know on this equation. So instead of A, B, and C, I can fill in the angles. 114 degrees, 34 degrees, 32 degrees. I don't know B or C, but I do know A. It is 31 kilometers. And what you got to notice here is if I ignore a ratio, so if I ignore this ratio here, these two are equal. So I can quickly write a proportion. Well, that proportion can be solved, cross multiply. I get sine 114 times B equals 31 kilometers sine 34 degrees. The units here will be kilometers. Divide both sides by sine 114. And again, I would type this in as one thing into the calculator. So B will come up to be, when you round to a whole unit, 19.0 kilometers. It says 10 for nearest 10. So 19.0 or 19 kilometers for B. Well, that's great. Now if I move that squiggle over onto this, we can see the other ratio. And again, it's the same thing. So we can write these two down here on the one I just made. And again, we can cross multiply and divide. So I cross multiply, these become multiplied again. So C is going to be 31 sine 32 degrees kilometers again on top. But we're going to divide this time by sine 114 again. Now the only difference between these is 32 and 34 degrees. So you've got to be careful. When we do this math, you get 18.0 kilometers. And think about it. We just found the three unknowns. C, B, C. I'm going to skip to problem 3. You can, again, find the answers for problem 2. You can give it a attempt. It's almost exactly the same problem. The three answers for problem 2 that are not shown, the sum of the triangles will give you 97 degrees. You should be able to find that A is 29 and C is 10. And again, the knowns in this case were C was 20 degrees, B was 63 degrees, and they give you little b is 26 meters. Problem 3 is kind of set up the same way. And again, if I start with finding what I know, they tell you measurement of A is 39 degrees. We don't have measurement of B, and we don't have measurement of C. We'll have to find those. We do have A is 29 yards, and we are given C is 23 yards. And I have B as question mark. And again, law of sines is always the sine of the angle over the opposite leg. Well, I see these two match, so I can quickly write sine of 39 degrees over 29 yards. It's going to be equivalent. Now we use the one that has one known, this row. Sine of C, which I don't know the angle, over 23 yards. Again, multiply by 23 yards on both sides, and I get 23 sine 39 over 29. That equals sine C. Now it's important you keep the decimal places, otherwise you're going to have rounding error. When you divide this on your calculator, you're going to get a very long decimal. but you want to at least take 4 spots. And when you solve this, you haven't found C. You found sine C, which is the ratio. So we got to say, oh, calculator of mine, I know the ratio. Please go backwards and tell me the angle. And when you take sine -1 of 0.4991, problem 3, you get the measurement of angle C is 29.9 degrees when you round to the 10th. So I come up here and I can write 29.9 degrees. Now, find B. You can use the sum of the angles equals 180. So I can just say, hey, if I know 2 angles, I don't have to use law of sine. I can find that this is 111.1 degrees for B. And again, now, think about it. I'm going to use the first angle again, this one right here. Because it's still that. This time, I'm going to use the middle one on the other side, which is sine of 111.1 degrees over little b. And again, we cross multiply and divide. B is going to be 29 sine 111.1 degrees over sine 39, and units will be yards. And again, when we do the math, problem 3, to the nearest tenth, you should get 43 yards. Problem 4, again, gives only one angle, so it's just like problem 3. And if I shrink this down and I give you some room so you can see it, you can work this. I'll give you the answers. It follows the same procedure using law of sine. And again, you can go back and look on the beginning of the video to see law of sine. They give you measurement of A is 104 degrees. Measurement of B is an unknown. Measurement of C is an unknown. They give you little a is 30 yards. That's our pair, across from each other. And they give you B is an unknown, and little c is 8 yards. You should find, well, you should be able to run these math and find that B is 61 degrees, C is 15. You should get little b as 27 yards. Again, this is practicing with law of sine.